Hey everyone, Sir Skeptalot here. I thought I'd bring you all along on my trip to the Field Museum. There's a brand new exhibit on the evolving Earth. Come on! Ooh, the evolving Earth exhibit. I don't even know where to start. Excuse me, miss? Excuse me, are you a guide? Can you help me around? Show me what I'm looking at here?
I don't know how to say this word, so I'm just going to pretend that I know how to say it.
Oh, are you sure you're a guide? It's pronounced eukaryotes. Eukaryotes.
Eukaryotes?
Yes, eukaryotes.
All right. Here's another interesting thing. Now they're going to tell you that this is how evolution of the cell began.
Hey, that sounds like a great place to start. I mean, that's basically the beginning of life, right?
Eukaryotes are different from other cells because they have a nucleus which contains the cell's DNA, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no. You just blah, blah, blah the beginning of evolution.
At first, all eukaryotes were single-celled, and many still are today. What? If many still are today, then that would support the theory that they have never changed.
Which theory that they've never changed? There is no theory that they've never changed.
That they have always been as they are today. Not that they started someplace else and then are here, but they were always this and still are today.
Can somebody help me out? Can I get a real guide here? I don't think this lady works here.
Living and extinct, this is not single-celled, including you, everything is made up of eukaryotic cells. Well, then doesn't that suggest that everything was made up of eukaryotic cells in the beginning also? That they weren't something else that became eukaryotic cells, that they are always and have been eukaryotic cells?
No, Megan Fox, because you're ignoring the fact that there are still millions, if not billions, of types of single-celled, non-eukaryotic creatures out there, which would suggest that eukaryotic cells evolved from non-eukaryotic cells.
None of this makes any sense. It doesn't make sense to a fifth grader. It doesn't make sense to a third grader. It doesn't make sense to a 30-year-old. None of this makes any sense.
Well, I don't know. I turned 30 in August, and it makes sense to me. And I'm a fucking idiot.
This is muddled thinking. This is thinking from, like, Darwin's thinking from, 100 years ago, and we should know better by now. We really should know better by now. Darwin once said, if the single cell is more complex than I think it is, then all of my theories, I'm going to have to start all over again. And between now and then, what we've discovered is that the single cell, if the single cell back then were, a Buick, the single cell now is a galaxy. So Darwin himself would have said, okay, back to the drawing board. None of this makes any sense.
Reality does not change because one person 100 years ago got a few things wrong in a book. Reality is reality. And the reality is evolution is a fact. Yes, Darwin got lots of stuff wrong in his Origin of Species. And he got stuff even more wrong when he tried to improve on the Origin of Species. But a lot of it turned out to be true. So we're not building our scientific theories on everything that Darwin wrote.
But yet we're still stuck with 100-year-old science. It's disgusting.
This isn't the Bible. We're not stuck with this. It's not written in stone. We don't have to apologize for the things that he got wrong. We improve upon them. We've changed a lot. The scientific community has evolved the theory of evolution to fit reality.
That makes me so angry. Again, angry.
Well, I don't think that's anger. I think you're just confused. Oh, evolution of sex. This looks good. Hey, lady. I want to see this. Oh, it looks good. Ooh, this is all Precambrian stuff. Oh, it's so cool. When the definition between plant and animal was harder to define. Oh, man. Animals were basically just plants with soft cell. Oh, look at this scene.
This is where it starts getting nice. This is where it starts getting good.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. The Cambrian explosion is where shit got real. This is some of the coolest stuff you'll ever see.
This is where they actually put facts down, and you can look at facts. Because these are the animals that they've studied and have skeletons for, and so now we can start seeing about these creatures and what they did and what they were like and what are they made out of, and this is where there's actual science that we have.
I'm sorry, Megan, but to suggest that skeletons are what's required to create real science is asinine. We have backwards engineered DNA and successfully mapped out the evolution of many different types of cells and organisms. We do not need physical skeletons. What the skeletons do, though, is give us a better idea of what things looked like and how they interacted with their environment. But this is not real science because there are skeletons. There's lots of other real science that doesn't require skeletons.
See? Fossils. That's science. Don't tell me how they got into existence, because you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue.
I'm starting to feel that I have a better clue than you do.
I don't want to hear about your theories and your stupid theories about how these creatures came from one cell when you can't prove it to me. You can't prove it. No one can prove it. Oh, but well, we think that that's what happened. No, just show me the animals. Tell me about them. Don't tell me that you know exactly how they came to be, because you don't.
Well, you're right about one thing. We don't know exactly. But not knowing exactly and not knowing that something did happen are two completely different things. We do know that it happened. We do know that things evolved. We don't know a lot about Precambrian, and we are struggling to figure out how the single-celled world really worked, but that's because single-celled organisms do not leave fossils. Precambrian organisms did not leave fossils. That doesn't mean you win. That doesn't mean the Bible's right.
And don't tell my children that you know either. That makes me angry. I would prefer that we just tell them it's okay not to know. It's okay to say, I don't know. This is really cool though, isn't it? Prehistoric ocean. Sometimes I think the ocean is so darn big. Who knows? Some of these things might still be down there. No one would ever know.
Yes. Actually, you're correct. It's very unlikely, but you're correct. It would be neat. I'd love to see some of these creatures in action. They're so alien to what we're used to today. Oh yeah, we gotta give the camera some trilobite love. I love these little things. Look at all the different types they got here. This is so cool. Where'd you go? Ooh, giant squid. Where'd you go, lady? Do you think we should get a real guide here? You know, you have a lot of questions, but not a lot of answers here.
How do they know this? Okay, if you're talking about 470 million years ago, these are just guesses off the top of their heads.
No. I'm sure they're basing those estimates on rock layers.
First, I love how they write these things like, this is what happened for sure. For sure, this is what happened first. Listen how dumb this sounds. First, the ozone layer formed when oxygen began to accumulate in the Earth's atmosphere, provided protection from the sun's harmful radiation. Only the water had provided this protection before. How do you know this? It's a fairy tale. It's just a fairy tale. Just making it up. But we want the whole scientific community and everybody else is supposed to believe this.
I've mentioned this study before, but rocks in Africa were recently studied, and their contents showed that oxygen formed around the 470 million year mark. There was little to no oxygen in the air before that time, and seeing as the ozone layer is made of oxygen, a pretty simple game of deduction will show that that's probably around the time the ozone layer formed as well.
Meanwhile, soils had formed. How do you know?
Rock samples.
How do you know?
Rock samples.
And this is all a guess, but look at the language. Soils had formed. Not soils may have formed. Soils had formed that could nourish plant life.
Well, if there was a time that soils did not exist, it's reasonable to assume through a simple game of deduction that there was a time in which they did form. And yes, this is a guess, but it is what we would call an educated guess, and it's based on rock samples.
And so here comes the plants. Yeah, well, it's a guess. Maybe. Maybe not. But look at, no, there's no other explanation here. There's not one other explanation. Not, well, this could have happened, but maybe this happened. Maybe it all happened at once. Maybe it was alien created. Maybe, no one knows. No one.
Yes, and maybe a giant turtle came out of the giant sea and the universe was on its back. Look, we could fill a museum with a bunch of maybes, just on this one exhibit of when soil formed. Do you know how big a museum would have to be to fill all the maybes that might have beens over the history of the universe? It would have to be a fuck ton bigger than the Field Museum, I can tell you that much. We only have so much information to go on. Yes, a lot of these are guesses, as you like to use the vernacular, but we prefer to use the word hypotheses and theories. And these are educated guesses based on years and years of research.
Oh look, Earth's first land plants were small and moss-like. Oh yeah? How do you know? Did you have a video camera there? Where's the tape? I want to see the evidence. Where's the evidence? Fossils? These fossils are the evidence because you have fossils of plants? This is the evidence I'm supposed to believe that these were the first plants? How do you know?
Didn't you just say that fossils are real science? You're the one that said fossils are real science.
They evolved from one type of algae. Green algae. Not just a type of algae. They even know the type of algae. It was green. They know the color of it. It was green.
I think green algae is a type, not a color. Well, lady, you're in the museum. Look around. I'm sure it explains why. I mean, you have a smartphone, don't you? Just look it up. Here, let me Google it for you on my smartphone. Okay, it says here there's different types of algae. Photosynthetic protists, commonly called algae. A diverse group, divided into several phyla. Euglenoids, dinoflagellates. I'm probably butchering these names. Bacteriophyta, chlorophyta, that's the green type. There's cyanobacteria. It's usually called blue-green algae, but it's not really what it is. Phytoplankton. Everybody knows what plankton is. And then there's other brown, there's red, there's also multicellular. Those ones are usually referred to as seaweeds, though. And we know that most plants that we see on the surface today were evolved from the green algae because they share the same DNA traits. Oh, boom, there you go. Seems like just looking into some of the DNA research will just clear up most of your questions here. I gotta be honest.
So someone's gonna have to fill me in. There must be a hidden videotape from 470 million years ago that these people all are in possession of. And haven't shared with the rest of us. Because they know what happened 470 million years ago. Just like the weather people know how to predict the weather on Friday.
Oh, come on, lady, that's low. My uncle's a weatherman. I'm not even kidding. He really is. Chris St. Clair works for the Weather Network in Toronto. Weekend Weatherman. Follow him on Twitter.
And then at the very end, this is one reason scientists think land plants evolved from green algae. But what does it say here? What does it say here? They evolved from one type of algae. It doesn't say they think they did. It says they did. Then down here it says, well, they think they did. In real small. Because you're not going to get down here. You're just going to read this part and go, oh, that's what happened. Doesn't anyone see how ridiculous this is?
The only thing I'm finding ridiculous right now, Miss Fox, is that you skip 30% of each sign to show that they start off with telling us what the theory is, and then they continue to explain why they think what they think, and then you're just skipping all the part where they're explaining why. It is intellectually dishonest to your audience.
And we have entire buildings, look at how much money has gone into this place to talk about this. No one really knows.
No, this museum is a teaching center, but it's also a monument to our hundreds of years of scientific research. This represents the vast sum of our knowledge. Museums. And museums are expensive, yes, but I can think of a few choice places that are true monuments to ignorance. And yes, these places cost a lot more than any museum.
Oh, look. It took around 50 million years. Why not 60? 70? Maybe it was 40. How do you know? Where's the video? Again, where's the video?
Where's the fucking video of Noah's Ark?
This is all just guessing. All of it. There isn't one bit of evidence here. Because guess why?
Because it's just a poster, not the entire exhibit?
There's no missing links.
Oh.
Not all these so-called missing links, not one has been found. That is not a hoax, that is not a joke, that is not somebody's idea of a prank, or someone's idea of trying to get their theories made into laws.
Oh, so wait, you're talking about human missing links now? Because we're in the plant section right now. We're talking about the evolution of plants. And yes, there are several links. Look at the whole Jurassic and Triassic area plants that we have in our studies. We know lots of plants that used to exist that no longer exist but have relatives that are living today.
There is no such thing as a missing link. It doesn't exist. That's why it's called missing. That's why they're missing. We don't have any examples of plants going from one type of plant to another type of plant. All we have are examples of plants that have always been algae, that has always been algae.
Oh my god, I'm getting lightheaded. Oh my. Every species is a transitional species. Every plant is a transitional plant. Just look at those fossils that are like 10 feet to your left. Those are transitional species.
And horsetails that have always been horsetails.
Horsetail? Horsetails are not organisms.
We're just going to continue to believe that there are missing links out there. We just haven't found them yet. That's got to be it.
Wait, are you going to tell me that you were saying there are no missing links while you're looking at fossils of plants? What the fuck? None of these plants exist anymore, by the way. I think that I'm starting to understand that the things that you like are the things that you can't refute offhand, because they are staring you in the face. And I guess plants can't stare you in the face.
This is the stuff I like. This is the stuff I like. Real fossils about real animals that really existed and that we can look at and see and form our own opinions on. I don't like it when they tell me about stuff that they have no clue on Earth about and where nobody else is allowed to have an opinion.
Oh no, you're allowed to have an opinion, but let it be known that if your opinion is not an educated opinion, then your opinion is useless.
Big giant fish, teeth. That's fun.
Okay, focus, Megan. Come on.
Much like a parent with a video camera recording the first steps of their baby child, someone was around 370 million years ago to record the first steps of tetrapods from water to land. Because that's what they're telling you here. That tetrapods took their first steps around 370 million years ago. Who writes this stuff?
Oh no, you didn't just make fun of Tiktaalik. You don't even understand what you're looking at right now. This is one of the greatest victories in paleontology ever. We got so good at predicting what would be in specific rock layers that they predicted that this first walking fish would be on a very specific layer. They went up to northern Canada, looked at this exact layer, and found this exact fish. Riddle me this, creationist.
How do they know this? They don't. Today, tetrapods include reptiles, birds, and mammals like you.
I'm sorry, are you denying that you're a tetrapod? What's with your grumpy face?
Maybe they always had feet like that. Maybe that's the way they were made. With feet that could go like alligators, that are in the water and the land.
No. You have to look at the series of fossils. This series of fossils that they discovered this through suggests that this is specifically a walking fish, not some alligator-like thing. This predates it, and we know because of the rock layers. If this Tiktaalik still existed today or existed at the same time as alligators, we would find them on the same rock layer, but we do not.
Do you know how complex feet are? The human feet, are so complex that people who make robots have not been able to replicate feet. They can't make a robot with the same dimensions foot as a human being because it won't stand up. Even when they make it with the exact same specifications as a human foot to a human body, they can't make it stand up. Why? They're so complex. The muscles, the muscle structure, our toes, and everything else, all our muscles work together to keep us standing up and not falling over. Because technically, when you try to make a foot like the human foot, you can't do it. No one can do it. So are you telling me that it's an accident, just purely accident, fins became these incredibly complex feet?
Whether or not we have the ability to design or build something is not our standard to which we decide if things are designed or not. The fact that we can't build a foot ourselves is evidence that it did evolve, because nobody could have created it because, like you said, It won't work if it's created. And boom goes the dynamite. I'd also like to point out here that she's looking right at a model of the Tiktaalik's foot, and it's showing exactly how it's comparable to modern foot designs, how it actually has bones that are shared by modern feet. That's really significant, and she's just ignoring that completely. Oh, look, everybody, that's Grandma and Grandpa. Those are our direct ancestors. Yep, those are our direct ancestors. She's just walking right past them. Yep, don't talk about them.
They're buying it. They're buying it. Teaching it to their children. Just buying it. Buying it. 100% hook, line, sinker. Buying it.
I'm sorry, aren't you a homeschool mom that teaches her kids based on the Bible? I've already used the irony police once. Can't charge you twice.
Oh, and here's the thing that everybody is just trying to get to. You had to walk through all of that just to get to the cool dinosaurs. Really, that's all people want to see. They just want to see the dinosaur bones. They don't want to see any of that, except for maybe those arthropods and stuff under the water. That was cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. You find evolutionary history boring? Maybe that's why you're having trouble grasping it. I find that if I'm not interested in a subject, I don't have a lot of time to try to understand it, to absorb it. But if you got more involved, if you actually got interested, passionate about it, you might actually start understanding some of these theories. Then you get your head out of the frickin' Bible and start to realize the world's a little older than I think.
But we could have done without all of that and just skip ahead to the dinosaurs, because this is what the kids come here to see.
Kids, immature, creationists, yeah, all on the same intellectual level, you're right.
See, I think they should just put these things in here and let people wonder and exclaim over them.
You wouldn't rather understand them? I'm starting to definitely notice a pattern here with you.
Okay, so we went to the Indianapolis Children's Museum, which is a wonderful place, and they have the most real dinosaur bones in the area. I think in the country they have the most, because they have a huge lab there, and they have all these Stegosaurus bones. They have some of the biggest finds at this Indianapolis Children's Museum. So we go down, there's a lab where you can watch them like taking the bones out of the casts, you know, and because they're constantly working there, and they have a skull on display that is clearly a dragon. There's no other way to describe it. It's a dragon skull. It's got horns, like here. It's got a long snout, big pointy teeth, bumps all over its face, bones. So you can imagine that the skin was stretched over this thing. It clearly looks like the dragons of drawings. Very clear.
Where's the videotape? I want to see the videotape. If there's no videotape, it didn't happen. Where's your videotape?
My kids, when we get down there, and immediately one of them says, "Mom, it's a dragon." And I look at it and I say, "My God, it is a dragon. I've never seen anything like that. It looks just like a dragon. It is. It's a dragon." And my mom says, "It's a dragon. Look at this." Well, the technician goes, "Oh, no. That's not a dragon. No. I'm like, "What do you mean it's not a dragon?" She says, "No, that's a dinosaur." Okay, well, you have to look at it. It looks like we know what we're talking about, right? Like a dragon with horns and the whole deal. Oh, no, it's not a dragon, no. Yeah, you gotta dash the little hopes of my children, because the imagination, they can't have that.
Yeah, doesn't this lady know that children's imaginations trump scientific fact?
So then I ask her, "What's it called?" Now, this is the best part. "What is it called?" She says, "Dracoris Hogwartsia." You know what that means? The dragon of Hogwarts. The person who found this dinosaur got to name it, and they named it Dracoris Hogwartsia, the dragon of Hogwarts. The cover of Time magazine is sitting right next to this skull. And the cover of Time magazine, they've put skin on it to make it look like... You know what the cover of Time magazine says? Dragons. And the thing is, it looks just like a dragon. We have to ask ourselves, do we believe... there's no evidence yet of flying dragons, of fire-breathing dragons. However, there's plenty of people around the world throughout the ages who wrote these stories about dragons, who drew pictures of dragons, who said they saw dragons. And then we have this dragon skull that looks exactly like a dragon that people have drawn from the stories.
Well, I really have to hand it to Megan here. This surely does look like a dragon skull. It's pretty definitive. Oh wait, what? This isn't the skull? Oh, this is the skull. Oh, that doesn't look like a dragon at all. She even went as far as to say it has big teeth, but this thing is a plant eater. In fact, it's part of the same group as the Pachycephalosaurus. These guys. The headbetters. You've seen these guys before. It's in the same family. If you stretch skin over it, this is what it would look like. It's adorable. Not scary. And it probably had feathers on it too. The Draconics lived 65 million years ago in the Cretaceous period on a rock layer where we find no humans. But we do find a bunch of other random shit that we do not see today.
Language is important, people. It really is. I maintain that that is a dragon. So does the people who made. So does the guy who discovered it. Hello, Dracoris Hogwartsia. You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried.
Are we to infer from the name of this dinosaur that Hogwarts 2 is real? Because by your logic, that's what we're supposed to take from this.
See, that kind of looks like a dragon too. So does that one.
Megan, lots of things look like other things. That does not inherently make it one of those things. Paleontology is really complex. Yes, the discoverer of this dinosaur bone called it a dragon. That does not make it a dragon. It makes him a geek.
See, the reason they don't want you to say dragon is because they know there's evidence that people have seen something that looks like this. And if that is the case, that there's evidence that people have seen something that looks like these things, then their whole time scale is off by, several hundred million years. And they do not want there to be any possibility that a person ever saw a dinosaur.
Oh, geez, I think you forgot something. There you go.
Of course, they can't explain why are there prehistoric drawings on caves of dinosaurs. They can't explain that. They don't even want you to know that. If you notice, we have not seen one of those here, have we? We have not seen a cave painting of dinosaurs, but they exist. They exist.
Yeah, no. There's no dinosaurs in cave paintings. I used to believe that when I was a believer in creationism, but I couldn't deny the fact that none of the drawings looked exactly like what we know those things to look like today when they were really good at drawing bulls, cats, birds, elephants, all sorts of things. Why did they always draw the dinosaurs so wrong? Well, most of these have been seen as either hoaxes or just complete misunderstandings at what they're looking at. Most of them are lizards, and some of them are just natural formations on the rock that kind of look like brontosauruses.
The cave painting looks like this. Those things on the back.
This is the only one I could find that's not labeled a hoax, and I'm having a lot of trouble seeing it.
Now, what other animal do you know has things like that on the back?
This guy and this guy, just to name a couple. So you must have studied these, right? You've been to the sites, looked them over, done tests on the materials, or where did you see them?
In a magazine. It was in a Creation magazine.
Good one.
Of course, and they're going to say, they made that up. They didn't make it up. They were in caves in France. Found in caves in France. So, there are pictures of these things. They're everywhere. There's also some in Egypt. And Egyptian hieroglyphics. They just pass right over those. We'll go to Egypt in here, and you'll see there won't be any hieroglyphics of dinosaurs on the walls, but they existed.
Citation, please.
This is a fantasy.
It's not my fantasy, if you know what I mean. Not into hairy chicks.
This is a fantasy, like dragons.
Is that a Freudian slip? You just admitted that dragons are a fantasy.
Except dragons aren't a fantasy.
What the fuck are you talking about? What are you trying to say?
But their idea of, dragons aren't real. No, this isn't real.
Oh, no. No, we have bones.
This is something they've just made up. Incredible.
Nope. We have bones.
Look at this. Though this emerging picture, you know why it says emerging picture? Because they have no evidence for it.
No, we have bones.
This emerging picture can be controversial. Scientists agree on two key points. And first of all, they don't agree on these points. Not at all. Humans evolved from an ape ancestor. There are plenty of scientists who don't believe that at all. And they evolved through the same unpredictable process as every other living thing. No, scientists don't all agree on either of those things because there are scientists who do not agree with this.
I'll admit that there are an insignificant number of people that are involved in the scientific community that deny evolution, but they are not what we would call, quote, scientists. If you go through the list of scientific evolution deniers, you'll find that some of these people are not even part of the scientific community. Some of these people are park rangers, and others are just trying to sell you shit. Back in the day, Don Exodus made an excellent video where he tracks down on all of these people on the list who deny evolution. Check it out. It's fucking awesome. I miss this guy. He had amazing content.
There are gaps in the fossil record, and many fossils are fragmentary. And those gaps just happen to be the gaps that would prove this theory right. But because there are gaps, we're supposed to believe that everything they say is right. We're just supposed to ignore the fact that there are gaps. It must be right. Frankly, I think the gaps are important. And you better fill in the gaps before you tell me to believe it, because I don't believe it without the gaps filled in. And there's huge gaps here.
Fossils for human ancestors are rare, and they're rare because humans have generally lived in areas that had very poor conditions for creating fossils. I say this in every fucking video, but fossils are rare because the conditions to make them are very specific. The incredible thing though, despite how rare human ancestor fossils are, we actually have filled in most of these gaps. We have such a good idea of what this picture looks like that it's undeniable. Look at these pictures. I stole these from the King Crocoduck video. Check it out. Link in the description. What? You just spent 3 minutes talking about how Lucy is a fantasy, and then you just walk right past her fossils without even explaining how those fossils are a fantasy. We can see right in front of us the structure of a humanoid that is clearly related to us, and you do not even blink.
Between Neanderthals and our own species.
Okay, again, you just skipped a bunch of really important stuff. You walked through the entire history of what we know about the evolution of the human being, and your refutation of that is, quote, end quote.
No one considers that Neanderthals could just be people with big foreheads.
I'm sorry, Megan, what? People with big foreheads? Okay, you watch way too much Eric Hovind.
You know how Eastern Europeans have bigger brows and, deeper set eyes, and we're supposed to believe that, no, these are ape ancestors? No, I don't think so. I think they're just exactly like how human beings are so different. Humans are all so different from different places, and they look different. Neanderthal man simply could have been a guy they found with a really big forehead.
You are absolutely right. Humans from across the globe come in all shapes and sizes, heights, widths, different facial structures, different arm lengths, different altogether. But you know what the one thing that all humans have in common? DNA. We all have human DNA. And Neanderthals do not have human DNA. In fact, human DNA is more similar to chimpanzee DNA than it is to Neanderthal DNA. Let that sink in. Neanderthal is not just a man with a really big forehead. All right, Megan, do you have any words of wisdom for this room?
My mom's looking for us.
Oh, okay. Wait, where are you going? Megan, where are you going? Oh, the gift shop. Oh, well, why don't you stick around in the gift shop, and I'm gonna buy you something in the gift shop. I'll see if they're selling any fucking clues. You folks are in for a treat because I have 2 bonus videos for you. On the top left, I did a chick track with Bible Reloaded. It is hilarious, basically just a giant giggle fest. You will love it. And on the top right, I did a video for the Bible Reloaded. It's my Christmas special. Check these out. You will have a lot of fun watching these. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Joyous Noel. And all those other religion holidays too. Bye.